Before history, before humanity, there was Earth. Welcome to Season 5, The Great Permian. For the first time in Earth's history, nearly every continent had become one. An immense supercontinent now stretched across much of the planet. Far from the oceans, the heart of Pangaea became increasingly dry. Pangaea transformed Earth's geography and climate forever. New forests evolved to survive a drier and more seasonal world. Animals adapted quickly to the changing landscapes of the Permian. Vast inland regions emerged unlike anything Earth had seen before. The changing planet was shaping entirely new ecosystems. A new chapter of evolution had only just begun. On this ancient supercontinent, new rulers of the land were about to rise. As Pangaea expanded, much of its interior grew hotter and increasingly dry. Wet and dry seasons now shaped the rhythm of life across Pangaea. Many rivers became seasonal, expanding and shrinking with the changing climate. Seasonal climates transformed landscapes across the supercontinent. Plants evolved new strategies to survive longer dry seasons. Animals quickly adapted to life in Earth's changing climate. Dry land was no longer an obstacle, but a new opportunity. A new balance emerged across the vast landscapes of Pangaea. But larger hunters were already beginning to roam these ancient forests. Soon, powerful new predators would transform the world forever. Long before the dinosaurs, another predator ruled these forests. Its towering sail made it unlike any predator the world had ever seen. Dimetrodon became one of the most successful predators of the early Permian. Powerful, adaptable, and instantly recognizable, Dimetrodon ruled this ancient world. Every part of its body was designed for strength, patience, and precision. Many scientists believe the sail helped regulate body temperature, though its full purpose is still debated. Few animals dared challenge the ruler of the early Permian. Despite its appearance, Dimetrodon lived nearly 40 million years before the first dinosaurs. Dimetrodon belonged to the synapsids, the ancient lineage that would one day give rise to mammals. The age of the synapsids had begun, and their story was only just unfolding. Not every sailback giant was a hunter. Some were peaceful giants of the forest. Edaphosaurus was a giant herbivore built for a very different life. At several meters long, it was among the largest herbivores of its time. Its unusual sail made this herbivore instantly recognizable. Herbivores like Edaphosaurus helped shape the vegetation around them. Its sail may have helped with temperature control or display, but its exact function remains uncertain. Predators and herbivores now shared an increasingly complex ecosystem. Synapsids were already evolving into many different forms and lifestyles. Across Pangaea, these new ecosystems were becoming richer and more complex. But the Permian was only beginning to reveal its true giants. Some vertebrates were no longer tied to water. The amniotic egg allowed reproduction far from open water. Land was becoming a permanent home, not just a place to visit. This evolutionary innovation changed life on land forever. Two great amniote lineages were beginning to follow different evolutionary paths. Different habitats were creating different ways of life. While amphibians stayed to water, amniotes could venture farther inland. As Pangaea dried, this freedom became increasingly valuable. The land was filling with animals built for different worlds. And the age of life on land was only beginning. As forests spread, larger herbivores began reshaping life on land. Every bite changed the vegetation around these ancient animals. Plants fed herbivores, and herbivores supported powerful predators. For the first time, complex terrestrial food webs were taking shape. As herbivores multiplied, food became a resource worth competing for. During dry seasons, finding food and water became a daily challenge. And where herbivores gathered, predators were never far away. Across Pangaea, animals were beginning to shape the landscape around them. Every creature was becoming part of a much larger ecological system. The Permian world was growing larger, richer, and more competitive. Not every survivor of the Permian world was a giant. Captorhinus was small, but perfectly suited to life on land. Unlike many amphibians, far from permanent water, that freedom opened habitats that water-dependent animals could rarely exploit. Small animals could exploit countless hidden niches across the landscape. When the dry season arrived, shelter became just as valuable as food. Across Pangaea, amniotes were taking many different evolutionary paths. Reptiles and synapsids were now sharing the same changing world. More species meant more competition for food, shelter, and territory. These small pioneers were opening the door to an extraordinary reptilian future. Dimetrodon was not the only predator of the Permian. Sphenacodon was another powerful synapsid predator. Its deep skull housed powerful jaws built for catching prey. Its anatomy reveals a predator built differently from Dimetrodon. It did not need a giant sail to become an effective hunter. Different synapsids were solving the same survival problems in different ways. Every predator changed the behavior of the animals around it. Synapsids were no longer a single experiment. They were becoming a dynasty. Their story would eventually lead toward the remarkable therapsids. But the greatest transformation of the synapsids was still ahead. Then a new kind of synapsid began to emerge. Dimetrodon was an early therapsid with a very different body plan. Its body reflected a new stage in synapsid evolution. Therapsids were becoming increasingly diverse, specialized. Its sharp teeth reveal a predator adapted for hunting active prey. Across the Permian, therapsids began filling many ecological roles. Across the Permian, therapsids began filling many ecological roles. Their evolutionary story would eventually lead toward the mammals. But the Permian world was becoming increasingly harsh. The great ecosystems of the Permian were approaching a profound crisis. The synapsids were changing, but their world was changing too. Before the catastrophe, the Permian world was still alive. Then the climate began changing faster than life could adapt. Far to the north, enormous volcanic eruptions released gases on a planetary scale. The extra greenhouse gases drove severe global warming. For survivors, the world had become almost unrecognizable. Across land and sea, ecosystems began to collapse. The Dimetrodon descendant. For survivors, the world had become almost unrecognizable. Yet life survived, and slowly the world began to recover. The Permian had ended. A new world was beginning. Volcanism triggered a chain of environmental changes that pushed ecosystems toward collapse.